Good day, my name is Khatliso Miataza, and this week in Southern Africa, we have the hashtag Shut It All Down protests in Namibia. 1 in 3 Namibian girls aged 15 to 19 have been subjected to violence by their very own partners. Over the last week, anti-gender-based violence protests have erupted all over Namibia's capital city, Windhoek. Similar to the September 2019 gender-based violence protests that were triggered by the discovery of Uyinene Mqwetyane's body, the hashtag Shut It All Down protests were ignited by the discovery of 22-year-old Shannon Waterfall's remains. She had been reported missing since April 10, 2020. This occurrence triggered the nationwide discourse about women's rights and about the safety of women in Namibia. From the 6th to the 8th of October, hundreds and hundreds of protesters took to the streets of Windhoek. These were some of the demands presented to the president. Number 1, declare a state of emergency. Number 2, the president must consult with gender-based violence experts in order to effectively tackle this issue. And number 3, the call for the immediate resignation of the Minister of Gender Equality. The police reportedly brutalized many protesters in front of the parliament through rounds of rubber bullets, throwing tear gas, beating and arresting dozens of protesters. The irony is that the police were brutalizing peaceful protesters who were protesting against violence aimed at women in front of a monument that is founded upon protecting the citizens.
Hello everyone, I am Asman Saidu from Cameroon. Now, Nigerians are in the street fighting against police brutality. Young people are leading marches while social media is on fire. They express their frustration against the numerous exactions perpetrated by a special unit called SARS. The unit was created in 1992 at a time where Nigerians have been impoverished by structural adjustment programs and crimes were on the rise in big Nigerian metropolises. The government responded on the 12th of October 2020 and said it has disbanded the Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS and replaced it with a new tactical team known as Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT. The disbanding of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reform in order to ensure that the primary duty of the police and other law enforcement agencies remains the protection of lives and livelihood of our people, said the Nigerian President Muhammad Buhari. However, protesters said on Wednesday 14 they feared the new unit would simply be a rebranded version of Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS. What they do is give them new uniforms, call them new names, but they are still the same people in these police forces, said blogger Folu Oyefeso in Lagos. Nigerian youth wonders why the government spends so much money trying to police their lives while many examples of the street harassment by supposed police officers were reported.
In Guinea-Conakry, the presidential elections happened yesterday on the 18th of October. They opposed Alpha Condé, who's now president for 10 years, and Cellou Dalein Diallo, who's running for presidency for the 3rd time. Violence and tensions are surrounding these difficult times. It is said that this instability stems from an ethnic dimension added to the political matter. Conflicts present in the country happen mainly between Malinkes and Peul, also known as Fulanis. Many believe it is not a coincidence in view of the two politicians running for power. Indeed, Alpha Condé is a Malinke, and Cellou Dalein Diallo identifies as a Peul or Fulani. The current president is determined to stay in power. He was accused of using the ethnic disparities when campaigning, and even claimed that this election was a war. It is important to note that Guinea has been in difficulty connecting the different parts of the country, as well as the ethnic groups. Reasons go from a lack of communication infrastructures to underlying and old ethnic conflicts ingrained in the culture. I invite you all to reflect on these questions. Are ethnic issues compatible with politics? Does a nation elect a president or an ethnic representative? The 15th of October marked Thomas Sankara's murder and Fela Kuti's birthday. We remember the first for his courage and incredible leadership, and the second for standing as a father of Afrobeats.
From East and Central Africa, we start off in the DRC, where the head of the UN Stabilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Leila Zerukoui, told the UN that planning for a drawdown of the UN peacekeeping mission is well underway, but much work still remains to be done to put the country firmly on the path of long-term stability and sustainable development. The peacekeeping mission was sent to Congo to stifle the clashes in the eastern parts of the country. These are happening as they are fights to control the mining areas that are rich in resources integral for the manufacture of the electronics that we use on a daily basis. Sadly, there hasn't been a lot of coverage on this in the Western media, nor does the AU seem to want to intervene. You can help the plight of the Congolese people by raising awareness in your own little way. Where there have been raging fires on Mount Kilimanjaro for over a week now. Local newspaper, The Citizen, reports that apart from the loss of vegetation and ecological destruction, 12 huts, 2 toilets, and solar equipment have been destroyed. Tourists being forced to move their camps hastily to avoid being on the path of the fire or getting carbon monoxide poisoning. The fire, which started on Sunday afternoon in Mona, a tourist stopover, had reportedly been controlled but suddenly re-emerged in Horombo Station, where it occurred in Kenyans. Firefighters are containing the fires as of now, but strong winds are proving to be problematic. This recurrence of wildfires all over the world, with the Australian fires at the start of the year as a marker, only goes further to show how we are continuously harming our environment and causing irreversible ecological damage. I urge you all to do your part to slow down the effects of climate change.
My name is Rayhana Marawia and I am a Year 1 student from Morocco and Canada. Alongside with my colleague Marwan Bahrawi, I am the North African news reporter for the This Week in Africa team. After the Idai hurricanes last year, flooding of water in Kenya a few months ago, and as we just saw, the Kilimanjaro fires, Africa is suffering once again from the consequences of climate change, as profuse rainfall caused a disastrous flood that affected at least 16 Sudanese states. Ranked among the most severe floods recorded in the region, it affected nearly 900,000 Sudanese people and reportedly killed more than 120. The lack of continental and international support threatens Sudan's political, economical, and social stability as the country prepares for the 2022 elections. The movie industry's failure to achieve proper North African representation, especially in leadership roles, has been strongly criticized after Gal Gadot's casting for the new movie Cleopatra. Is this a new attempt from Hollywood to whitewash African heritage? Feel free to argument in the chat. Only weeks after the launch of the nationwide inspection of unlicensed buildings, the Tunisian authorities have killed a 50-year-old man under the rubble of his shop. He was working and living under the same unlicensed building. If there is anything that the state needs to understand about the Tunisian people, is that they must not mess with the life of any Tunisian citizen, unless they want a wave of protests that expand from the Atlantic Ocean to the Mesopotamian River. Of course, this incident reminds us of how the Arab Spring started, but that This Week in Africa team hopes that the government responds peacefully to the demands of the protesters. This week, we are commemorating the Paris massacre of 1961, where 400 Algerians were murdered and drowned in the Seine, Paris' 75-kilometer-long river, by French police during peaceful anti-colonial protests in support of the Algerian War of Independence. 59 years later, the massacre is still not officially recognized by the French state. Therefore, no trials have been conducted and none has been held responsible for this Parisian mass murder. May we remember the blood of our ancestors that has been shed to liberate our continent.